So we're back with Alex, aka Floetic, and he's going to answer some questions I have for him. First off, so what is it like working for Rudament, the producer?
Working for Rudament, the producer, has been a very eye-opening experience. You know, from being a personal assistant and also a manager, it's just very. It reminded me a lot about the manager side. Reminded me a lot about architecture, which I'm studying at school, and you know, with setting up different things for other people to do, contacting clients, setting up the schedule. It was all related. Planning, the planning, it was just all related. So it made me a better planner. I learned a lot. Managing is it can get really tedious, but you know, I got through it.
Cool, great. So what is something that you've learned while representing the Rudament Music Company that you think will come in handy in your future or everyday life?
Something that I've learned is to be humble, believe it or not. Being humble and making a very pleasing appearance into the business world.
Definitely.
Especially with the music.
Yeah, that's important.
You know, learned about music, but learned about business on a deeper level, like what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopefully I become a very successful business person in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of, you know, managing, setting up schedules, etc.
Cool. So next question. So in a previous interview, we asked you what a goal you had that you'd like to accomplish. Did you accomplish that?
I believe my goal was to learn more or study the business aspect of the music industry. I believe, as I said in the previous questions, that I've learned significantly a lot about managing, being a personal assistant, and working under pressure was my biggest thing.
Yeah, totally.
I work well under pressure, but sometimes it can go overboard, and it's like, you know, Alex, I need you to do this. Alex, I need you to, you know, run to the post office real quick and, you know, pay this bill for me. Alex, I need you to contact these clients. Alex. And if I'm doing one thing and then something else is being said and then something else on top of that, it can kind of bring you to a place where you don't want to bring yourself. So
Definitely. No, I understand.
Yeah. So, you know, I had to keep my composure.
Yeah.
Mentally and physically.
Totally. So do you think there was one scenario where you especially, you know, were you able to try something new or discovered a new strength? You know, maybe like when you're in one of the situations where you had to maintain your composure.
One of those situations, there's been many of those situations, situation after situation. I would say contacting schools. I was put in charge of having assistants contact schools, but I was also setting up a couple of business emails to send to other businesses and a manager, and I wanted to make sure those were in good shape to send off to those managers. And it was like, I had to do that, and then, you know, focus on the schools, and then the variety of the schools, the quantity of the schools that we contacted. It was a lot of schools.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, all right, let me divide this work, and you know, it made me think a little bit more.
Yeah.
It made my job easier, spreading these spreading this job amongst the assistants.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
made my job easier. So I learned how to organize, learned how to plan.
Yeah.
It all goes
Cool.
back.
Yeah. So do you think you have a new perspective or a different perspective of the music business after working?
Actually, in terms of managing, since I've never really, managed before, that was an eye-opening experience. But I really don't have a different perspective of the music industry. Working with Rudament last year, I got to observe, and we also got to observe, clients sleeping on chairs, sleeping on the floor, waiting to be recorded in Philadelphia. We traveled, to different parts of Boston, outside of Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and we got to see we were promoting one night, me and Rudament were, we were passing out business cards along South Street, and then it got to a point where, it was getting late and we didn't want to get in too late, so we went to the studio at about 2 in the morning, and there was 3 clients just waiting to be recorded, and I'm like, so, we had to maintain our professionalism and make sure that we were there for them and, not fall asleep or anything, and, support their needs.
Yeah.
24-hour studio. So book your time, people.
Sure. Well, thanks for interviewing and talking with me.
All right.
And what's a good way for people to get in touch with you?
A good way to keep in touch with me is you can type into your computers. You can also Google me, Floetic Jet Life, FLOETIC, space JETLIFE. You can also type that in on Facebook and find me. You can also contact me via Twitter at Floetic726, FLOETIC 726. Those are the best ways to keep in contact with me.
Cool. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks again.
Yep.
And I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of you in the future.
I'm sure you will. And thank you, Rudament.